Hi, my name is Larry Dorff, Math Curriculum Consultant for Big Ideas Learning, and this is part 3 of the series on using the Dynamic Assessment Resources DVD, specifically the ExamView Assessment Suite. In the first 2 videos, we took a look at how to create a quiz, a test, or a worksheet in ExamView, and then how to edit the questions and to make it more of your own. For this video, we're going to format the test that we've already created and take a look at the different ways that we can, as I like to call it, pretty it up so that it's ready to go to be printed and given to the students or posted online. Here you see a quiz that I have already created and edited to be ready to go in ExamView. This is a quiz on sections 1.1 to 1.3 in the green 6th grade book. And you can see that my quiz has a multiple choice section, and there are some problems there for the students to answer with directions to go along with it. And then there's some numerical response questions and a few short answer questions. And then on the 3rd page, there's an extended response question for the students to answer. After that, you'll see the answer key for the teachers, and there's a lot of information on this answer key. One of the things that I will show you today when we format on this video is how to eliminate some of those things that you may not need in your answer key. So let's go back up here to the top of the quiz and let's get ready to go ahead and format. All the formatting tools are located in the menu at the top where it says Test, and then it's called Layout. Test Layout will give you all of your test preferences. So we're going to start here with Layout, and you can see under the Layout tab that there are several subtabs: Questions, Question Types, Answers, Answer Key, and Page. Let's start with the Questions tab. And under the Questions tab, your first choice is for your answer choices. Would you like your multiple choice responses to be in columns, which you can see a demonstration of right here, or no columns, which means the choices will go straight across. So let's keep that as columns. Here you have an opportunity to change your bimodal questions from multiple choice to short answer. You can do this individually question by question in the editing mode, and I showed you on the video of editing how you can change a question, toggle back and forth between multiple choice and free response or short response. But here you can do this to all of the multiple choice questions. So if you don't want a multiple choice test and you want to simply change it to short answer, just click here and all of the multiple choice questions that are bimodal will change to short answer. Remember, bimodal questions are questions that if you were to remove the choices, it could still be accomplished. And so the ones that are not bimodal, it would leave as multiple choice because those choices are necessary to the question. Now here's where we can display the points. Right now it's showing do not display the points, but if you'd like to show your point values, you can display them with the question or above the question. Let's display the points in line with the question. Here you can add some spacing for the problems. In the editing mode, you can add extra space to each of the problems individually, but here you can add extra space for all of the problems. So we can make it as little as 6 points in between to as many as 36, 42, or even more. So depending on how much space you'd like to provide for the students, you can add extra spacing. Keep in mind though that the more space you put between the questions, the more pages it's going to take to print your quiz. So let's make it 18 points, just to put a little bit more space in between those questions. Over here under Question Types, now here you have an opportunity to choose between grouping questions by question type. In other words, all multiple choice would go first, and then all of your short answer, numeric response, and then your extended response at the end. Or you can allow the question types to be mixed. So it's your preference how you'd like to do that. I typically like to keep my multiple choice and my short response and my extended response together. Now you can change the order of those. I did show you on the first video how to reorder questions. And you can change the order so that if you wanted the extended response question to go first, you can do that. Sometimes with students, as they're doing a particularly long test, If they're given all of the multiple choice and the short response questions first, by the time they get to the extended response question, they're exhausted. And so you might want to consider changing the order so the extended response question comes at the beginning, the one that involves the most thinking and the most work. Now, if you do keep the questions by question type, you can begin each question type on a new page, or you can also restart the numbering with each question type. Now, I personally like to have the numbering continue. I don't want the multiple choice to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then when it gets to numeric response, starts all over again with 1, 2, 3, and then again with the extended response. So I'm going to unclick this, and if I uncheck that box, now it will go multiple choice 1, 2, 3, 4, numeric response 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, short answer 10, 11, 12, extended response 13, and so on. Now, under the Answer tab, you can leave answer space for your problems. If the students are going to take the test on the actual paper that you're handing them and not on a separate answer key, then you could give them extra space along the side to put your multiple choice answers. And you can also, for numeric response, include a grid if you want. Again, with your short answer, you could put a little space for your short answer. Here you can give answer lines for open-ended response questions so that the kids will write neatly, especially if it's asking them to write a little bit more about it, explain or justify their answer, that type of thing. Now, this is the answer key, and for the teacher, I mentioned to you that the answer key has a lot of information on it, some of which you may not need on your actual answer key. Certainly the answer would be important, but perhaps not the rationale or feedback. I would probably want to keep the point value and the level of difficulty, and the national standard, which would be your Common Core standards. And then some of these other things, I don't necessarily need this on my answer key. I can always go back in ExamView and take a look at the keywords or the miscellaneous information that's provided for it, the references, and so on. That'll help neaten up your answer key a little bit. Then under the Page tab, your most important choice here is you have a choice between 1 or 2 columns, which will certainly save space. If you do 2 columns, you might want to consider putting vertical or maybe even horizontal lines between the questions so that it neatens up the sections and as well each individual question, keep the kids a little bit neater. You'll notice that you can start your page numbering at different numbers. If you're creating, for instance, a semester exam that takes more than one day, you can start the second day's numbering with the next number in the sequence. So your first day could be page number 1 through 5, and then the second day you can start your page numbering at page 6 if you wanted to do that. So that's all here under Layout. Now under Style, I have 2 tabs. My first tab is my General tab, and here I have choices for how I want to design my question and answer styles. So for my question style, I can use a number with a dot next to it, a number with a parenthesis, a number with a hollow oval so that kids could color it in if you wanted them to, colored in number, same with squares or ovals. So let's use the parenthesis. My answer choices could be lowercase or uppercase letter or even number if you wanted. And again, I have choices for dots or parenthesis or ovals. Let's go with capital letters and points next to it. Now for your choice sequence, it will always use A, B, C, D, E if you want, or you could have it go A, B, C, D, E for one question. The next question could be F, G, H, I, J, or you can do that backwards if you want. You have lots of different choices for how you want to do your question sequence. Under fonts, you have all sorts of different font choices for all of the different pieces that go along with your test. The title, the section titles, the actual question numbers, the answer choices, all of those can be made different fonts if you should so choose. Up here at the top, there's also a chance to change your point values. Now remember, you can change the number of points for each individual question by editing it. Double click on the question, change the number of points to whatever you'd like per question. I like to change my categories. For instance, I always want my multiple choice questions to be 1 point, but maybe I'd like my numeric response to be 2 points each, and maybe those short answer questions are going to be 3 points each, and those others, those extended response, maybe we'll make those 5 points each. Now that I've made all of those formatting choices, I have one more choice to make. I can click OK, which will save these choices just for this quiz and go back to the format that was provided from ExamView when you make future quizzes or tests. Or if you really like all of these preferences that you've chosen, all of these formatting preferences, and you want to save it so that every time you go to create a quiz, a test, or a worksheet, it will make that same choice for you, then you could click Save as Default. Now keep in mind, even if you pick Save as Default, you can always go back and change those preferences at a later time. So let's just click OK. And now you can see that my quiz has been reformatted. It's got my number with my parenthesis next to it, which I asked for, the number of points next to the problem, capital letter for my multiple choice responses, 2 columns. In fact, I even asked for vertical and horizontal lines to split each question up individually. As I go further, you'll see here's short answer with some lines for the kids to write their answers, and my extended response after that. Now look at the answer key, and you can see it's a lot easier to read the answers now because all I have in my answer key is the answer, how many points is it worth, what's the level of difficulty, and then what standard would be covered underneath that particular choice. So I have a nice neat quiz now. One other thing I'd like to show you that you do have available to you as an option is under the test menu, you have something called a style gallery. And if I click on Style Gallery, you're going to see that there are already some basic layout styles incorporated through ExamView. All of the ExamView layouts are here, but you also have some state-specific styles available to you. Because I listed my city and state as Erie, Pennsylvania, ExamView knows that I'm a Pennsylvania teacher, so it included our state test, the PSSA test. So if I wanted, I could click Pennsylvania PSSA, and if I click OK, it will change my test so that it's in the same format as the Pennsylvania PSSA test. Your state tests, many of which are already included in ExamView, so when you register and include your name, school, city, and state, most importantly the state, it will give you your state-specific test format that you might choose to use. And there are all sorts of other test formats here as well. So if you're in a school that typically uses, for instance, the format that's very much like a PSAT test, or any of the other types of tests, Stanford, SAT, and so on, you could make your test look like those too if you wanted. So now that we've formatted our test and we have it looking, as I like to say, pretty, ready to go, ready to be printed and or published, the next in our video series I'm going to show you how to print the test and also show you how to publish your test if you'd like to be able to provide it online for students to take either as practice or as the actual quiz. So please check our next video, and remember that you can always go to our website www.bigideasmath.com. At the bottom of the screen, just click Technical Support, and if you have any questions at all about ExamView or any of the other of our technology products, feel free to either email us or give us a call, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday Eastern Time. And you can also click on our technology tools. You'll see that there's ExamView Quick Guide here. So any of the things that I just showed you, if you'd like to have it in print or a little refresher as you're working through ExamView, feel free to click and print the Quick Start Guide or the actual ExamView Test Generator packet with instructions that are very specific about all of the things that ExamView will do for you. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope you found this helpful. And have a great day.